I guarantee you one of the dogs is going to bark. Hey there. Today I want to talk about pen names, and there goes the dog. As some of you know, Herman Hunter isn't my real name. It's a pen name. There's a reason why I did it. I'll introduce that later on in the video. But first, why would you take a pen name? The way I see it, there's three main reasons. First, anonymity. There are people like me who kind of want to live just a normal life, and they want to be known by a separate name different from their legal name. The second is for writers across genres. And Stephen King did this once. He wrote under a separate name for one of his books. But there is some concern that if you're known in one genre, if your name is known in one genre, that when you change genre, it may confuse your readers. So some writers may take on additional names just to kind of like separate them and not confuse two sets of fans. Me, I don't really intend on going outside of fantasy. And even if I did, I don't think my fans would be that confused. So. Number three is branding, and this is actually important. When you're known by a specific name, all of your marketing and your promotion is done around that name. For example, Herman P. Hunter, I have HP Hunter Writer as my domain name. My Twitter name has Herman P. Hunter in it, etc., 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 etc. It gets kind of confusing when you run around calling yourself one name and people know you by another. So for the purposes of branding, you kind of want to remain known by a particular name. The reason why I took a pen name was actually two reasons. Originally, I wanted some anonymity. I have no love for fame. I don't care about fame. And I kind of like having a bland, normal life. Should my book hit, which is kind of doubtful at this point, but should my books hit, I kind of like to have some sort of separation between my personal life and the personal persona that you see here, because there's just so much difference. Whatever. The second reason was that I'd actually written stuff under my given name. Very much earlier in my life, I was writing books about software. I've written some articles about software, so I wrote those under my given name. After I published my book, it appeared on Amazon, and I thought, wow, this is great. So I started looking up, and I noticed that there was another person with my name that published a different book, and so there was confusion between the names. So I wanted to avoid that this time around. So that's why I went with a pen name. So what are some of the complications to pen names? The first is that the more names you have, the more signatures you got to learn. If you're going to go sign books, if you're going to provide nameplates and whatnot, you need to have a signature that, of course, matches your name. It's going to be kind of silly to have Herman P. Hunter on the front of the book and have the thing signed Stan Leibowitz. Create a signature for each individual name that you're using, which if you have more than one, that then becomes very complex and troublesome to remember. Another thing, don't use your legal signature for signing books. That's just waiting for somebody to rip you off. So just remember that. What are the other complications? I can't think of any. Now, the things they don't tell you about creating a pen name. The first one is anonymity is an illusion. When I started to build my author platform, I've seen social media, this, that, and the other, I had already registered a lot of stuff under my own name. And consequently, all the people that I worked with, all the people that I announced that I was writing a book, they all knew me by my original name. So I had to explain the fact that I went with a pen name. Well, now I got a bunch of people who know me by both names, which for them isn't a big deal because a lot of them are content creators and they sort of understood why I would go with a pen name, and I explained it to them. But the fact is, at some point or another, somebody's going to figure out your name. And at that point, all the anonymity is gone, because once it gets out on the internet, doxing or whatnot, everybody's going to know it. It's not the guarantee of anonymity that you really think it is. Lastly, and this is the most important point, registering a copy mark. Registering a domain name, all the legal stuff, you have to use your legal name. And people can pretty much figure this out. Thinking you're going to hide behind somebody else's name? Yeah, no. You have to use your legal name at some point, and people who are savvy enough will know to go in there and find it. People who already know you will get confused by your real name. Creating a new distinct signature, it may be easy for some, but it sure wasn't easy for me. And the last one, and this is probably more difficult than most, you have to remember your pseudonym. When you've spent, 20, 30, 50 years being called by one name, somebody calling you by a completely different name. So you're probably going to have to practice that more than you think. Do I regret publishing under Herman P. Hunter? The answer is no. Apparently I have a very common name. I didn't know this before. I do now. If I didn't use a unique name or semi-unique name, people would have easily gotten confused. I'm pretty sure that there's another fantasy fiction author out there with the same name, and it would have caused nothing but problems. So finding a fairly unique name helped me, I think, in that regards, as far as branding moreover than anything else. As far as anonymity, there are too many people who know my real name. It's over. Hopefully I'll make enough money that I can create a fortified compound with, gun turrets and whatnot, and all the crazies will be kept at bay. It was interesting learning a new signature. I have awful handwriting. My signature is just about as bad with my pen name as it is with my real name. That's really about it. I mean, that was my full experience. I haven't had a lot of complications. Most of the places that print and distribute books assume a pen name, so it's not that big of a deal. Anyways, aside from the dogs barking, I hope that this was informative, and I'll see you guys next time.